Hi, I hope everyone's semester is off to a great start. So this week we have some exciting things coming up, and so let me share my screen so we can go over those things in Canvas together. So before I get started, just a reminder that we have some assignments that are due tonight, August 28th. So we have the course introduction survey and the course introduction videos. I'm not going to go into those again because I have before, but just a quick reminder to make sure that you complete those. They are for credit. We also have the discussion on physics and sustainability. So please make sure that you complete those assignments. And we have our first assignments that are actually part of the projects coming up. And the project is going to be done in groups. And the first step is to find your group. So you have a discussion to do that. You can take a look at the physics and sustainability, discussion to get an idea of who's interested in what. That can help. But you can also just get started in this discussion, maybe state some ideas that you have. Maybe you can talk about your availability, if you have more time, to potentially meet on Tuesdays or in the evenings, on the weekend. So that, hopefully if there's some time during the week that you can meet together, that can help. You'll see that the assignments will be, you can work on those on your own and then sort of get things together. But you'll get a new part of the project sort of like every month or so. To see an overview, you can go here, right? And right after we'll get the groups, you'll actually get an assignment that will ask you to define your question, right? So an observation and question. So you'll see that it's really just we're trying to follow the scientific method. And so we are really trying to break it down. So if you think about it, just coming up with an observation and a question, it doesn't take too much time, but it's mostly, making sure that you're all on the same page with your group. And then you'll see the other steps coming up after that. So we really try to break it down so it's not too much work all at once. But I would try to think, to find partners for this project who maybe like to communicate in the same way. So I know Discord has been very popular with students, or WhatsApp or whatever it is. You can, put that information there to say, hey, I'd love to create a group on whatever platform, and who else would like to join, and see if you can get a group going. So I would start that. So this is due, this is actually due September 6th. I'll go back to why it's actually September 6th. But I will get that started before then, because it may take some time for to be able to see answers to your posts. So please make sure that you actually get started as soon as possible. And I saw that we already have some contributions in there, so make sure that you respond and see if you can, if you find people that you'd like to work with. So go back to September 6th. You'll see that actually, if you look at the rest of Unit 1 assignments, for example, typically your assignments will be due on Sunday night. So that's the idea is that you get the whole week, but really you're getting more than a week, because you'll see that everything is been posted until the end of the September or so. I will be posting, Unit 2, 3, and 4 quickly also, so that you have access to all of the material early. but so the deadlines usually would be on Sunday night, but we do have a holiday coming up, and I didn't want to put assignments in the middle of your long weekend. So that's why they're actually pushed and they're due on Tuesday. So just please make sure that you keep that in mind, because otherwise it's going to feel like you have assignments that are close together, right? So if you look at homework set 1, it's due September 6th, but then homework set 2 is due September 11th, right? So, and that's because we're going back to Sunday after that. So please keep that in mind. So now we can actually move on to the physics. So we're getting started with Unit 1, which is called Mechanics 1. And since this is our first unit with our first chapter, I want to take a look at this with you and sort of walk you through what a typical chapter is going to look like, starting with chapter 1. So Unit 1 covers 3 chapters, and you can see that, so this will not give you too much information, but we're going to be talking about mechanics. We're going to define things like forces, and you have typically assignments every week. So you have homework assignments, you have some, activities, typically discussions, and you have an exam at the end of the unit. And we'll talk a lot more about the exam as we get closer to that. So this chapter is actually a little bit different from the other ones that are going to be coming up. The reason is that it's an introduction, and that means that a lot of what we're going to be doing in this chapter is actually defining sort of the vocabulary that we're going to be using, sort of putting things in context of, what physics is, and, how we're going to approach problems. We'll talk about units and how important units are, and how to do unit conversions. So here you have a short introduction to chapter 1 in the textbook. And after that, you'll see that we have a pre-chapter check. So I think I've walked you through this before, but you can, so this is an assignment that's optional, which is actually not for credit. And again, that's a tool that you can use to get an idea of what you know or don't know about the chapter. So that can help you, figure out how much time you should spend on this chapter, right? If you look at the questions in the pre-chapter check and you have no idea what any of it is, which would actually make complete sense, right? Because we haven't actually seen any content yet. But if the concepts look, complicated, so that gives you a hint, and something that you may want to spend more time on. Sometimes you'll see things like, oh, we're going to do thermophysics, and I've seen this in chemistry before, so I feel like I already know a lot about this and I won't have to spend too much time on this, right? So it's to give you some ideas of also the kind of questions to expect in the upcoming chapter. All right, so here again, it is structured a little bit differently, and you'll, starting with chapter 2, we get more in a routine in the way that things are presented. But here you have, so my videos that I post with essentially, so here, introductions to physics, typical physical quantities that we're going to be using along with their units. You have the corresponding sections in the textbook, and then I have additional videos, right, that go over the same things, but I picked those because they had nice illustrations, good examples, and some more practical ones here on unit conversions. and some that we have below. So here you have one that I have, one from that we've used from a colleague, Professor Yadak, that we've used in Physics Jam, for example. So like everything that's posted here, I kind of want to say that, this is sort of, you don't have to necessarily watch all of this, right? And if you prefer to go straight to the textbook and read from the textbook, that's absolutely fine. If you find that maybe that's a little bit dry, and you'd rather watch videos, then that should work, right? So just pick whatever works best for you, and then you can find sort of your own routine for the upcoming chapters. All right, so after that, so usually you would have an activity, but you have already a lot going on with figuring out your group for the projects and whatnot. So for this one, you have the homework. So you would start and you get questions on the topics that were covered. And so I can start to give you an idea, right? So, all right. So here, for example, the first question, physics has many applications, and check all that apply, right? So you can find those in your textbook, for example. So I'm going to jump back to modules just to show you here that this was what we followed, right? So we started at the Unit 1 overview, then we hit next, we got to so Chapter 1 introduction, then to the pre-chapter check, we looked at the content, and then the homework. If you continue on, then you get to Chapter 2. And so with Chapter 2, and just an overview of the first unit, with Chapter 2, we start looking into what we call kinematics. Kinematics will be something that helps us describe motion, right? So, you can look at actually the example for the activity here. We'll use a simulation. If I click here, now it doesn't show the picture. But we are going to study the motion of objects. We're going to see how we can describe that. I just want to warn you a little bit that with chapter maybe 1 with conversions and 2, this is a course that does not require too much math. Unfortunately, I'd say some of the chapters that are a bit heavier on the math are actually at the beginning. So just a warning. So if you have any trouble with that, please let me know, and we'll talk more about this chapter next time. But just please know that it doesn't necessarily reflect what's coming in the upcoming chapters. So in kinematics, we describe the sort of the motion and the what, and then chapter 3, dynamics, actually goes into how and why we have those the motion. And so we're going to talk about forces and how that's going to relate to something called acceleration that we'll have talked about already, and essentially explain how we set an object in motion. And you have another activity related to that. So I would invite you to, start exploring those chapters as well. Again, you have plenty of time since, homework 3, for example, is due September 18th. But these chapters really go well together, and they really sort of almost depend on each other. So if you're curious about what's coming next, please feel free to start taking a look and let me know if you have any questions. All right, so to sum up, please make sure that today you complete physics and sustainability discussion, the course introduction survey and videos. Make sure that you start, looking for your group, for the project, and then make sure that you start completing your homework for chapter 1. That's going to be due next Tuesday. And again, that's because Monday we have Labor Day and it will be a holiday. So they pushed the deadline for that by a couple of days. All right. So I hope you have a wonderful week. Please stop by my office hours if you have any questions, or send me an email or a message through Canvas. I'm here if you need anything, so please don't hesitate to reach out. And yes, so have a wonderful week, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.